younger, we thought everyone was on our side. Then we grew a little and romanticized the time I saw flowers in your hair. 'Cause it takes a boy to live, it takes a man to pretend he was there. So then we grew a little and knew a lot, and now we demonstrated it to the cops. And all the things we said, we were self-assured. 'Cause it's a long road to wisdom, but it's a short one to being ignored. Be in my eyes, be in my heart, be in my eyes, be in my heart. So now I think that I could love you back, and I hope it's not too late, 'cause you're so attractive and the way you move, I won't close my eyes. 'Cause it takes a man to live, it takes a woman to make him compromise. So be in my eyes, be in my heart, be in my eyes, be in my heart.
I decided to go vegan December of 2016 after watching multiple documentaries and educating myself on what a vegan diet actually entails. And I wanted to be able to share this information that I've acknowledged and learned with more people, and that is the purpose of this film. So what is veganism?
Veganism is simply the act of refraining from participating in anything in your life that comes as a direct result of animal byproduct, of animal cruelty, and of animal expectations. That's really it. No more, no less. It is simply the act of seeing that all animals are equal, from the dog in your house to the pigs in a slaughterhouse, and that they all are living, breathing organisms who deserve the opportunity to thrive on this planet just like we do. It's living in a way that does not objectify these animals, and instead of looking at a pig as, say, bacon or pork, you look at it as a pig, as a breathing entity, as something that is alive and feels emotions and lives in a community structure with other pigs. And when you begin to see that these animals are not material items but organisms, and apply that thought process, apply that knowledge to your life, you essentially become vegan by default. This is all vegans do. They realize this, they see this, and they refrain from exploiting these animals. Now
that you know what veganism is, what exactly does it do to your physical health and your body?
If you have a vegan diet, you have to do special things to make sure you get all the nutrients that our bodies need. B12, vitamin D, iron are missing from a vegan diet unless you make special efforts to put them in. I mean, for example, iron is present in pulses and cereals and some vegetables, but you'd have to eat an awful lot to get the same amount of iron that you would get from meat. So you have to be very careful to plan what you're going to eat. Other things like vitamin B12 are just not available at all in a vegan diet. So you can have things like breakfast cereals, but the manufacturers artificially put B12 in, and some soya drinks and some beef extracts. So they're sort of cheating a little bit. So a purely vegan diet won't give you any B12 at all, and your body definitely needs that, otherwise you'll get an anemia and you will die eventually. If you're making an effort to boost the iron in your diet by picking foods that are high in iron, and if you ensure that your diet has got lots of vitamin D, and you get some sunlight as well, that's important, and you make sure that you eat foods that have got vitamin B12 put in them, but then you need to check that you're having enough and not too much. So I would suggest that if you're on a vegan diet, you probably should have your blood checked perhaps once a year or something, just to make sure everything's balanced. It's well known that if you eat meat every day, your chances of getting various cancers is much higher. Because eating meat every day is not a balanced diet, but of course a lot of people do that. You should only eat meat perhaps 1 or 2 days a week, and then the rest of the week you should be on a vegetarian diet. So cutting back on the amount of meat eaten is a very good idea. Going all the way over to vegan is okay if you're very careful about your diet, but of course a lot of people who are vegan are not that careful, so they end up with some problems with calcium deficiencies and vitamin D problems and iron problems. It depends how careful you are. If you research it and do the right thing, it shouldn't be any problems for you. But as I say, if you're thinking of getting pregnant, or you're actually having a child and thinking of putting them on a vegan diet, that's a different matter entirely, and you would need to get some professional advice from a dietitian how to do that.
The hardest part was definitely just like, honestly, this week I started to feel like a little bit better. You definitely have like low energy in the beginning because you're changing your diet, and like human beings are not meant to eat dairy. Like evolution-wise, like we've been able to digest it, but it's almost like an addiction for us. So it's like quitting an addiction. So for the first like 2 weeks, I just felt like really like melancholy and just like low energy. But like now that I'm like just more acclimating to it, I definitely feel just like very relaxed, but like I have energy, like I'm awake a lot of the time and like paying good attention to what's going on around me. I definitely feel more, I guess, energized and relaxed. Like I feel like less anxiety when since I went vegan, and like being vegetarian overall just made me feel that way. It definitely makes you lose, I feel like for me it definitely made me lose weight, because you're just like, number one, it's like harder to pig out and like eat things in general. Like you can't just like go to McDonald's and go get cheeseburger, you know?
Or even fries, it's all deep fried in the same thing.
Yeah, so you end up just not eating those things, so it just really benefits you. So it's like, you still eat, it's not starving yourself, you just like, you get like better nutrition.
Absolutely healthy. I feel more energized, happier. I feel like I was always in a negative mindset, and now I feel more positive and more, I have a better positive outlook. Changes. I felt almost healthier, happier. I felt like my energy levels were almost through the roof because I was already not eating meat, and that was delaying me. I don't want to say delaying, but like it stopped me from growing. All of these stuff cause acne, cause hormonal imbalances in women, breast cancer even, in men, other types of cancer. And it's just, it made me feel as if I could have been so much more than what I was set out to be. Like, okay, now I have a path that I could follow. Like, a plant-based diet, I know it's going to be healthy, and now my body is almost as motivated. I'm motivated, and so is my body to want to eat more plants and eat more organic material so I can grow naturally. I've also gotten, I want to say taller, but that's also just myself growing. But I feel like if I grew the same way as eating meat, I wouldn't have been as tall or fit or healthy. Like I couldn't run often, but when I did run, I'd run out of breath quick, and now I can run so much longer. I can go on walks, I can do more activities that I wasn't able to.
The other thing that you'll notice as soon as you go vegan is your skin kind of turns to crap. And that is basically because if you're eating a really high dairy intake, or you were previously, even if it wasn't completely high of an intake, you were still eating it. That's so not good for your skin. Dairy is like one of the most well-known causes of acne, and so you basically just, when you go vegan, you're ridding yourself of all the toxins within your body. So whether it's coming out in your stool, or if it's coming out in your skin or your body odor, your body is just eliminating the waste. So in my case, and a lot of other people's cases, it comes out through your skin. So I broke out really badly on my forehead, my eyebrows, and like in between my eyebrows. But yeah, it's just a whole cleaning process really. Your body is just removing things that shouldn't be in it. and that has to come out somewhere. So usually it's your skin, but once that kind of left my body and my pimples cleared up, I noticed that my skin was glowing. I had really whites in my eyes. They were really nice and bright. My skin was really nice and lively, and it really comes down to hydration as well. I feel making sure that you're hydrated and you're eating enough of really good foods, it's going to be reflected in your skin. So my hair grows super fast now. Around a year and a half ago maybe, I cut my hair up to here. I don't know if you can see that. Super short, above my shoulders. It's now down to here. I've cut it maybe 3 times since, just for trims, and it just grows so fast.
Veganism is proven to help reduce causes of cancer in all forms, whereas eating meat leads to a rise in causes of cancer due to meat being carcinogenic. Veganism also cures cataracts, arthritis, adult onset diabetes, it lowers your blood pressure level, and a plant-based diet is thriving with the essential things necessary for living healthy, including iron, calcium, protein, and more. And to put a cherry on top of this pie, it is available for a cheaper price than any meat can be. Eating vegan has been shown to increase your lifespan, improve longevity, clear up skin conditions, and even improve body.
Is it even possible to be a healthy vegetarian or vegan?
Is it possible to be a healthy vegetarian or vegan? I became vegan for, 32 years ago now, and I run several miles every day. I go biking 40, 50 miles through the countryside. I work long hours. I feel great. It's nice waking up in a light, trim body every day. And so many of my vegan friends and patients, are just, they're thriving since their transition to a vegan diet. So yes, and I've seen vegan moms go through healthy vegan pregnancies and deliver healthy vegan children and raise them into tall, full-size, intelligent vegan adults. And yes, certainly all the nutrients are there in the plant kingdom to do this. That is correct.
Think anyone should
Think about it. The purpose of cow's milk. I did most of my growing up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. The purpose of cow's milk is to turn a 65-pound calf into a 400-pound cow as rapidly as possible. Cow's milk is baby calf growth fluid. That's what this stuff is. Everything in that white liquid, the hormones, the lipids, the proteins, the sodium, the growth factors, the IGF, every one of those is meant to blow that calf up to a great big cow, or it wouldn't be there. And whether you pour it on your cereal as a liquid, whether you clot it into yogurt, whether you it into cheese, whether you freeze it into ice cream, it's baby calf growth fluid. And women eat it, and it stimulates their tissues, and it gives women breast lumps. It makes the uterus get big, and they get fibroids, and they bleed, and they get hysterectomies, and they need mammograms, and gives guys man boobs. This is, cow's milk is the lactation secretions of a large bovine mammal who just had a baby. It's for baby calves. I tell my patients, go look in the mirror. Do you have big ears? Do you have a tail? Are you a baby calf? If you're not, don't be eating baby calf growth fluid in any level. There's nothing in it people need.
Now you know what veganism can do to a person like me and you. Well, what can it do to a young child or baby?
If you are pregnant on a vegan diet, that puts a tremendous strain on your body, and you will need to change your diet to change the amount of stuff that you're eating, because you're going to have to use more vitamin D, more iron, more calcium, because you're making another body inside you.
What's your name?
Weights.
Weights? How old are you?
4.
How many fingers is that?
4.
4. Wow, you're 4 years old. Are you vegan?
Yes.
Have you been vegan your entire life?
Yes.
I have a 4-year-old all-vegan son, and when I was pregnant with him, I was inspired to write a book, The Vegan Pregnancy Survival Guide.
How well does he understand what it means to be vegan?
So I think that children's understanding of veganism comes in stages, of course, because there's really huge concepts that come with being vegan, like, for example, death. Like, part of being vegan is understanding that animals have to die, and a kid like a 2-year-old doesn't even have any concept of death. And Weights right now is 4 and he's really starting to ask questions about what dying means and trying to wrap his mind around that. So there's some things that are just really big concepts that small vegans won't understand. To the extent that he understands what it means to be vegan, he absolutely understands I don't eat animal products because I don't want to hurt animals. And that much makes perfect sense to children.
Tell us why you're vegan.
Because I don't eat animals.
Why not?
Because they're my friends.
Oh, what are some of your favorite animal friends?
Lions, T-Rexes, dinosaurs.
So you wouldn't eat any of those?
Nuh-uh.
What about pigs?
Yes, they're my favorite too.
Oh, they're your favorites too, but you wouldn't eat them?
No.
How about cows? Would you eat cows?
No.
Would you eat cow's milk?
No.
Why not cow's milk?
Because I'm a vegan.
He's around non-vegans. Is he ever tempted to eat non-vegan food?
So it's really interesting. I would say that he is emotionally tempted to eat non-vegan food. If the other kids have it and it looks delicious, then he definitely has a desire to eat it. When he's around his grandfather and his godparents, they have non-vegan food. He's very curious about it, and he'll push against me to want to try it, but he knows that he's vegan, and when I'm not around, his preschool teacher has told me, he'll always ask if stuff is vegan, and he will not touch it. I will never force him to be what I want him to be past a certain age. I don't think that that's healthy, and I think that if anything it just creates rebellion, and it's the wrong kind of relationship to have with veganism for him. I want to raise him knowing why I'm vegan and why I think it's important to be vegan, but once he gets to be a certain age, I can't stop him, and I wouldn't intend to.
There is a wide stigma that veganism will make you weak and frail, although this is not the case. If you make sure that your diet is balanced as a herbivore, you can become even more stronger than you were as an omnivore eating meat and dairy. In 2011, the United Nations released an article stating that cattle ranges produce more carbon dioxide than all transportation. In 2014, the United Nations released an article stating that all agriculture produces more greenhouse gases than anything else in the world.
Cattle produces more greenhouse gases than all cars, trucks, trains, boats, planes combined. 13% compared to 18% for livestock. This is because cows produce a substantial amount of methane from their digestive process. Methane gas from livestock is 25 to 100 times more destructive than carbon dioxide from vehicles. Hydraulic fracturing for natural gas uses an incredible amount of water. A staggering 100 billion gallons of water is used every year in the United States. But when I compared this with animal agriculture, raising livestock just in the US consumes 34 trillion gallons of water. And it turns out the methane emissions from both industries are nearly equal. I found out that 1/4 pound hamburger requires over 660 gallons of water to produce. Here I've been taking these short showers trying to save water, and to find out just eating one hamburger is the equivalent of showering 2 entire months. So much attention is given to lowering our home water use, yet domestic water use is only 5% of what is consumed in the US versus 55% for animal agriculture. That's because it takes upwards of 2,500 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. 116,000 pounds of farm animal excrement is produced every second in the United States alone. That is enough waste per year to cover every square foot of San Francisco, New York City, Tokyo, Paris, New Delhi, Berlin, Hong Kong, London, Rio de Janeiro, Delaware, Bali, Costa Rica, and Denmark combined. Our global rainforests are essentially the planet's lungs. They breathe in CO2 and exhale oxygen. An acre of rainforest is cleared every second, and the leading cause is to graze animals and grow their feed crops. That is essentially an entire football field cleared every single second. And it is estimated that every day, close to 100 plant, animal, and insect species are lost due to rainforest destruction. One gallon of milk, it takes upwards of 1,000 gallons of water to produce. In 1812, there were 1 billion people on the planet. In 1912, there were 1.5 billion. Then, just 100 years later, our population exploded to 7 billion humans. This number is rightly given a great deal of attention, but an even more important figure when determining world population is the world's 70 billion farm animals humans raise. The human population drinks 5.2 billion gallons of water every day and eats 21 billion pounds of food. But just the world's 1.5 billion cows alone drink 45 billion gallons of water every day and eat 135 billion pounds of food. This isn't so much a human population issue, it's a human eating animals population issue. Environmental organizations not addressing this is like health organizations trying to stop lung cancer without addressing cigarette smoking. But instead of secondhand smoking, it's secondhand eating, which affects the entire planet. To feed a person on an all plant-based vegan diet for a year requires just 1/6 of an acre of land. To feed that same person on a vegetarian diet that includes eggs and dairy requires 3 times as much land. To feed an average U.S. citizen's high-consumption diet of meat, dairy, and eggs requires 18 times as much land. This is because you can produce 37,000 pounds of vegetables on 1.5 acres, but only 375 pounds of meat on that same plot of land. I also learned the comparison doesn't end with land use. A vegan diet produces half as much CO2 as an American omnivore, uses 1/11th the amount of fossil fuels, 1/13th the amount of water, and an 18th of the amount of land. After adding this all up, I realized I had the choice every single day to save over 1,100 gallons of water, 45 pounds of grain, 30 square feet of forested land, the equivalent of 20 pounds of CO2, and one animal's life, every single day.
Yeah, I know that in Europe, and for Europe you have to say, Britain is exactly the same. They do not allow, for example, American meat and American milk to come here because they have been altered. The animals tend to be given extra doses of hormones, and there's some genetically modified animals around as well to increase their yields, and their diets are very different. It's all very intensive in the USA, and that's why Europe does not allow a lot of USA foods into Europe. I mean, a lot of these things are political as well, but I mean, that's the state of play. So the meat and the dairy industry in the States does things that are not approved of in Europe.
You know that all of these companies that are saying use less water because if you leave your water on while you're brushing your teeth, you're wasting water. It takes 900 gallons of water to get 1 pound of beef. 2,000-pound animals drink 50 gallons of water a day. All of that water can be conserved and given to people who are dehydrated in third world countries, California, people in our own country. Homeless people should be given water and food and nutrients that they're lacking simply because our economy is based off of money. The biggest supporter in our economy is the stocks and the meat and dairy industry. And in the companies that are supporting or trying to stop global warming, their biggest supporters and biggest fundings are from the meat and dairy industry. And when they're questioned about it, they deny it and shut off any connection to the videographer that is recording them and is trying to figure out what's going on here. Because there's something not right with, all of these animals produce methane that destroys our environment. We should stop global warming. It causes global warming, we should stop it. But they're giving us a big check, so should that mean we just ignore it and try and fix all the small problems before the big problems? No. Humans can live off of a completely plant-based diet. Like, there are 3 living examples right here, and thousands and thousands out in the entire world. And people who are even forced to live off of plant-based diets because of health factors. There's not one person in the entire world who can eat completely meat. If you did that, you'd get sick. You can't eat it raw either, which is completely unnatural. If I was eating a raw steak, that you'd be like, what the hell's going on with this kid?
Now that you understand the impact that a vegan diet can have on the world and your own health, let's look into the ethical reasons why you should go vegan.
Still another reason for why veganism is important. It's actually the reason that I myself went vegan. Besides all these facts, there was something much more important that really resonated with me. and that is the ethical reasoning for veganism. It's just tuning into the compassion in your heart and realizing the truth of what's happening. Seeing that all of these innocent organisms on this planet deserve the equal rights to flourish and blossom the way we do, and don't deserve to be materialized by us. And a great way to visualize this is to think of these animals. What do you see? Now the word pet probably comes to mind, companion, friend, but when you see these animals, what do you think? The words food and meat probably come to mind. Why is this? And more importantly, what's the difference? Now most people would say, oh, there's a difference, you know, these are animals, these are pets, these are food, these are not. And that goes to show just how distant we are from the truth. We view it weird to eat one animal, but not weird to eat another. This is because of how we're raised, and this conditioning alone is what blinds most people. You must see that all of these animals are equal and that none should be viewed as food. Because in another country, cows are sacred and not eaten, yet dogs are eaten like breakfast. We have to start seeing all these animals as something we care about and feel compassion for and want to allow to live their lives, just like we do our pets at home. And if you can let yourself apply this line of thinking to both sides, you see just how skewed our perspective is on why it's okay to eat meat and why it's okay to wear their skin, which is really weird if you think about it. This alone is a way to grow and be more connected with the planet, and quite frankly, any attempt at spiritual or personal growth and development can only reach a certain level without transitioning into a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle. We have to understand and come to recognize these animals for what they are and move past this objectification. This is what vegans do, and that's all they do. It's a truth we're learning we can no longer run from or hide from, but need to learn to understand and accept. It was something I ran away from for months until I couldn't any longer. When the facts present themselves, we must listen to them and do our best to make this planet a better place. Unconditional love for all species on this planet. That is what vegans feel. They feel this connection and they see this truth. In the past, we did have to hunt, we had to wear hides, we had to eat meat to survive. But we've reached a level technologically where we no longer have to. And that alone should be reason enough to leave this old style of life behind and start living in a way that can actually make a change on this little blue marble that we have to ourselves. We only have one, and veganism is a practical, everyday way of doing something to make a change.
I started vegetarian because I thought that the treatment of animals was horrible, but I was only seeing what I wanted to see. Like, I didn't want to see how they treated animals for dairy. I didn't want to see how they treated them for eggs, because I love eggs and dairy. I don't want to, like, it's addicting to eat this food and then just stop. It's almost impossible unless you really feel like you need to change. So, once I started to really see how these animals were treated, what they were treated for, like, what we were getting out of them, what's the end result? Like, yeah, we get cheese, but is it really worth it if these animals have to go through a lifetime of suffering? Cows are raped for milk, and then their babies are taken away and killed if they're male. And then chickens are pumped with hormones, and then you eat those hormones? You wouldn't eat it if it was just hormones. So I decided to go vegan just because health reasons and the moral ethics of treating animals correctly. I think it's absolutely disgusting, and no animal should be treated in any way behind closed doors. If animals aren't property, they're not machines. You can throw my phone into the water and nobody would even blink an eye. Well, they probably would because it's an $800 machine. But if I threw a kitten into the water, this video would go viral and people would have me arrested for animal abuse. And I'd probably be talked about in such negative ways. I think of humans as animals because we are animals. We're mammals. When we're babies, we breastfeed off of our moms, and you see that with dogs, and you're like, oh, okay, we gotta get them off of drinking from their mom. It's like, no, they need that. Don't sell them for $3,000. Go to an animal shelter and rescue the animal, because we shouldn't be supporting like puppy mills, and these animals aren't even getting their full nutrition. Like, if a human wasn't getting their full nutrition, there would be the parents would be put in jail. You have to practice what you preach. You can't say that it's okay for the maltreatment of one animal and then completely just, okay, well, if I don't see the animal being tortured and this meat is just being packaged and sold for $7, okay, well, I guess I have dinner for tonight. I guess I can cook. It's a meal. No, it's not a meal, it's an animal. Your meal should be grown, not born. You can't eat animals and then act like it's totally fine when it's not an animal you think is cute.
I guess being like a vegetarian and a vegan has brought me closer to animals, because I feel like if I wasn't, like, I would not, I don't know, it's almost hypocritical for me, for people who say like that they really love animals and then like they'll go and eat a steak. Like, that just doesn't make sense. I feel like I'm able to, like, I have like a mutual respect with like animals.
Now that you have all of this information on why you should be vegan, how do you go vegan?
My best friend Gina went vegan in like April of last year, and then like we hung out all the time, and she introduced me to like almond milk and like vegan pizza, and I basically just ate whatever she ate since we were always with each other. And then 2 months later, I ended up going vegan myself, but I never ever expected to go vegan, and I never thought I could even be vegan. Like, one day I tried, I was like, you know what, let me try to go vegan for like one meal, and I couldn't even do it. I remember thinking it was like the hardest thing in the whole world. And then one day, I just like literally woke up and I went to Dunkin' Donuts, and I was like, all right, let me try to get like my coffee with like soy milk or almond milk. So I ordered a coffee with almond milk instead of like half and half. Then I was like, all right, that's like vegan. And then let me just try another meal. And then like, I was like, all right, I just want like a day of being vegan. Let me see if I can do it for like a week. And I just kept going and going, and now it's been like 10 months of me being a vegan. So it ended up being really easy once you just transition like your milks and your butters, and they have like vegan meat, vegan pizza, vegan burritos, like anything. People say like, don't you get tired of it, or like, isn't it boring, or like, what do you eat? Like, you only eat plants. But there's literally so many things that I eat, and I prefer vegan food over regular food. Like, before I was vegan, I hated cupcakes, I hated cakes, I hated like cream cheese, like, I don't know, I just hated like a lot of things. And then the vegan version of everything, which just tasted so much better, and even like the pizza too. Like, I never was into Italian food or pizza.
I eased into it because I was not prepared. Me and Amber actually was like, do you want to go vegan? And I was like, yeah. And we went vegan from that point on. But we had slip-ups. Everybody should be allowed a slip-up. Like, you can't be so hard on yourself, because then you get disappointed and you become negative. So my way, I eased into it. I wanted it to be my New Year's resolution, but I started February because I thought it was easier to figure out what I liked. If I didn't like something, then okay, then I'm not just bound to tofu. Okay, if I eased into tofu, then I know how to cook it correctly. I'm not just like, oh, I'm stuck in the middle of a vegan dinner and I just screwed it all up. Cheese. I love cheese so much. And I don't get cravings anymore because I feel like I weaned myself off of it. But it was very hard to get off of it. I wanted to be vegan for my New Year's resolution, but January it was just so hard because there was holidays and I was around my family, and they aren't vegan and they don't see the things that I see or want to see the things that I see. So I'd eat what they eat, and it's sort of just like everybody eats what their family eats. But so the hardest part was eating with my family, because I don't eat with my family anymore. I cook for myself and they cook for themselves. And it's really upsetting because I want to eat with my family, but they don't want to eat what I eat, and I can't eat what they eat. So that would be probably the hardest thing.
Now, if you do go vegan, what kind of foods should you eat?
My top 3 favorite foods that I could not live without being a vegan would be sweet potatoes, bananas, and peanut butter, because they're all really, really good, and I eat them with every meal or with not together. Well, sometimes together. I like make a whole bunch of weird like vegan creations, like sweet potato fries or like pancakes with them, and like I eat peanut butter with like kale, or peanut butter with carrots or pea burger with any berry in the world. And bananas, I like literally make ice cream and smoothies out of like almost every single day. And sweet potatoes, I can make like French fries or home fries, or I just eat a mash. I eat them with salsa. I eat like the weirdest stuff now, but it's like, I don't know, it's all really good and it's all really good for you. Like I don't really eat anything like added sugars now, and I'm also gluten free.
Hummus. If you love cheese like I did, vegan cheese, or you can make vegan cheese. It's just cashews and I would say like nutritional yeast. It's so easy to make. So vegan cheese, hummus, and what else? Probably vegetables. 60% of my diet is vegetables.
I love tempeh. Just like a protein, like a source of protein, and it's just really yummy. You can put whatever you want on it, but it's like kind of similar to tofu in a way, but it has a different texture. I love salsa because you can like put it on any vegetable and it makes it like taste amazing, but it's also not like, it's vegan number one, and it's not bad for you either. It's not like fattening or anything like that. So I love almond milk. I put in like every drink I get, so it's like definitely very important that it exists, because if I didn't have it, I probably wouldn't drink as much coffee as I do, and I definitely drink a lot of coffee. So
after seeing all of this information, widespread from physical health, environmental health, and ethical reasons, why would you not go vegan?
Grow up. If you say that animals shouldn't be abused, then okay, then stop eating them. You shouldn't be supporting a company that's abusing animals and then say no, that dog shouldn't be abused or starved. Okay, then you shouldn't be supporting the family, or not the family, the company that's killing animals, raping animals, or artificially inseminating them, which is raping, taking away their children, stuffing them, injecting them with hormones, testing on animals. Like, I use no animal products on my body. I eat no animal products, and I don't use any products that have been tested on animals, because I just don't believe that why should we be putting chemicals on our body that aren't even safe for animals? Like, if they're being tested on them, there's something not right there. If you never could go vegan, then you just don't care enough about yourself, the environment, and those animals. Then you should stop protesting against the maltreatment of them in the first place. Like, you can't be biased towards one animal and say that you're an activist for all animals. It's wrong.
I don't care. Yeah, I mean, I guess just if you cared and you truly felt like, and you truly empathize like what was going on to animals in like the meat industry, and not even just the meat industry, like in general, like what they do to chickens to get eggs, and what they do to cows to get milk. Like, it's disgusting. They make cows like have hold 10% more of the milk that they're supposed to do. It's like physically painful for them. So like, you're just drinking a product of like torture. It just doesn't, you obviously just don't care. If you cared about your health and you cared about like other creatures and living things in the world, then it would be easy for you to do.
If you could save the world as we know it, why wouldn't you?
She asked me, son, when I grow old, will you buy me a house of gold? And when your father turns to stone, will you take care of me? I will make you queen of everything you see. I'll put you on the map. I'll cure you of disease. Oh, and since we know that dreams are dead and life turns plans up on their head, I will plan to be a bum, so I just might become someone. She asked me, son, when I grow old, will you buy me a house of gold? And when your father turns to stone, will you take care of me? I will make you queen of everything you see. I'll put you on the map. I'll cure you of disease.